Titus, I'm the purchasing agent, and tonight I wanted to bring before you a proposed change to the purchasing ordinance. This relates to situations where recently we've been going through a review of facilities-related contracts and so forth, and in the course of doing that, have determined that there are a number of situations where maintenance and repair contracts are being looked at and put out for quotation and bid. And we've determined that we feel that we can get better pricing in certain situations where we include minor repairs along with the maintenance portion of these contracts. So to that end, we're recommending that the committee and ultimately the council consider a change to the purchasing ordinance under section 2-1332 for city purchases, item 2, with the addition of a sentence that reads as follows: where previously competitively bid facilities maintenance and repair contracts are in place, the requirement to obtain 3 or more quotations for repairs is hereby waived. For repairs exceeding $20,000, existing bid provisions remain in effect. Our intention in recommending this particular language is that many times there is a need to make repairs quickly in certain situations. Specifically to that, I'm going to reference situations such as elevator repairs, repairs to boilers and heating systems, building security systems, and fire suppression systems, to name a few. These are situations where oftentimes we have to bring in a repair contractor to determine what a problem is, and it isn't always necessarily known at that time what the extent of the problem might be. So in situations where that occurs and a contractor is in the midst of tearing down a piece of equipment to determine what a problem is, what the problem with it is, it is oftentimes more efficient and expeditious to allow them to make the repairs as quickly as possible within a certain dollar limit. So what we're recommending and suggesting here is that within the provision of the ordinance that allows for quotations to occur, which is specifically $5,000 to $20,000, that provision be waived and that repairs be allowed to occur based on already competitively bid and known labor rates and markup for materials based on what we've already put out that resulted in the selection of that particular contractor. Again, the reasons for doing this are to allow for minimal delay in situations where repairs need to occur quickly, and to hopefully encourage vendors to provide attractive pricing in order to win a contract, which would likely allow them some additional opportunity for revenue based on providing those basic repairs. And with that, I'll entertain questions if you have any.
Jeff, as I read the existing language, you could already really do this because it's between $5,000 and $20,000, and you can get quotations.
Well,
right?
Really what we're looking to do here is to utilize the selected contractor to make the repairs without going out and getting additional quotes in those situations. Normally, if we determined that a repair was going to exceed $5,000, we would require a department to go solicit at least 3 quotes. In this particular case, based on having already selected the contractor through a competitive process, we're just looking to allow them to make repairs up to that $20,000 threshold without getting those additional 2 quotes.
So I guess what you're saying is you are going to go through a process to pre-select or pre-qualify contractors for certain disciplines. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
And so how long would that period that they would be qualified?
Well, they would, the term of the contract would be basically, you know, a year to 3 years, depending on the situation. And they would, during the course of the term of that contract, they would be the selected vendor. Then when it goes back out to bid, another contractor would have an opportunity in that same business.
But it doesn't say that in this.
Well, each contract is coming up separately as we go through the process of updating those individual situations where maintenance contracts are required. But we're just looking to provide an overall approach to allow us to build some of those repair costs into those maintenance contracts as they are obtained.
Yes.
I guess fundamentally, I don't disagree with what you're attempting to do, is to kind of streamline the process, but a recommendation I might make is that you have a section 3 that separates that whole process out as another action versus tagging it on to another process, and it would be probably a little more understood by others who are reading it. And I understand what you're saying, but
Okay.
as Mitch says, it really doesn't say that in here, so.
I think the reason we put it in with the quotations is because it related to the idea of getting quotations or not.
Counsel.
Thank you. Jeff, you mentioned that you would have this list of contractors. Who selects that?
Well, it's selected based on going out for quotations and bids. So we maintain a list online, and then when we put out a particular contract for bid, any of those contractors have the opportunity to go after that business.
But what we're talking about here is you're talking about people with bids over $20,000 that you keep that list, right? Or is this for all that we do, where we had to get the bids from 5,000 before?
We go out publicly to request both quotations within the $5,000 to $20,000 range, and we also put out bids above the $20,000 range. And when we do that, we issue them through our purchasing website. So they're publicly issued, they're advertised, and then we run a competitive process and make a selection based on the situation at hand.
City manager.
Well, I think Councilor Powers has actually hit the nail right on the head here. We're really talking about contractors of record, and we certainly could spell it out differently. I think what Jeff Titus has suggested is that there's a need to act quickly from time to time. There's also a tremendous amount of work that goes into proofing up these bids, and so if you have a contractor of record who might do the elevator maintenance, for example, since that's something that could happen more frequently, it actually helps the process because his office deals with a large number of bids and purchasing requests